And we're going to be working in the notes side of our writer's notebooks. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Thumbs up if you're ready. Okay, great. Most of us are ready. So, in the note side, we are going to add a note to our table of contents. So this is going to be entry number 3. And we're going to call this lesson IVF. IVF. And Maggie, we're going to write down today's date. Okay, so make sure your table of contents looks like mine. Lesson number 3, IVF, and today's date. Here, Abby. All right. So if you don't have this in your table of contents quite yet, don't freak out because I'm going to write this exact same thing on my next entry. So remember, in our notebook rules on the note side, we only use the front of the page. So we're going to keep turning to the front of the page. There's our entry number 2, how to summarize. And now we're going to write on the front of this page. So don't write on the back. You're going to write on the front. Are you with me, Sean? You got your notebook out, writing in? So we're going to write number 3, IVF, and today's date. And I like to highlight the new entries in my notebook, even if it's on the notes side. Here we go. So this is exactly what I wrote on my table of contents for any of you who came a little late. So Lucas, we're putting a new entry in our writer's notebook on the note side. We added it to our table of contents, and this is exactly what we wrote in our table of contents. Number 3, IVF. Okay, so why are we even writing about this? We're going to say the IVF is the first sentence of a summary, which is what we're going to start writing, of a summary, period. The IVF is the first sentence of a summary. Lucas, do you have your writer's notebook? Nice job, Mason. I can tell you're making notes in your writer's notebook. Thank you, Kaya. I'm glad you got back on. Mom said you're getting new internet. Yay! Okay. So we're going to break this out and tell it what is the IVF. Lucas, can you turn on your camera, please? Okay. So I am going to make kind of like a table in my notebook that looks like this. It spreads out across the whole notebook. Thanks, Lucas. And we're going to say, does anyone remember IVF? Anybody remember hearing IVF? Nobody over here. Anybody remember? Okay, I bet it will come back to you in a minute. Okay. The I stands for identify the text.
V is verb.
Yes! Who said that?
I did.
Yes, Khalil. V is verb.
Is I facts?
I is identify the text. So it's kind of like an acrostic poem, only upside down. So first we have identify, that's the I. And then we have the verb, that's the V. And the F is finish the thought. I'm going to squeeze it in. I'm going over my margin just so we can fit it all in. Finish the thought by stating the main idea. Now that part's tricky. The main idea. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the I and the V and the F. And then we're going to practice. So I'm going to stretch these lines out a little bit. Maybe I'm going to put a little squiggly line here so that we can see that this is my information. And now here I'm going to practice. How you doing, Mason? All caught up? Fabulous. Carolina, we just started a new entry in our writer's notebook. Maggie, all caught up? Bobby, could you turn on your camera, please? Thanks, Bobby. Are you writing this down somewhere, Bobby? I see your hand up, love. What's up, Bobby?
I just joined. I don't really know what to do.
Okay, so I've said it twice since you've joined. We're writing a new entry in our writer's notebook. Okay? But when you come late after we've started, you're just going to have to remember to watch the video that I send out so you can get all caught up. Sean, does your notebook look like mine? Sean can give me a thumbs up if your notebook looks like mine. I can't see your, can you put your screen down a little bit, Sean, so I can see your face? There, thank you, Sean. Okay, so let's see what this means. So let's practice by doing an IVF sentence for, we're going to pretend that we're writing a summary for 2 tall houses. Okay. We're going to start by identifying the text, and we're going to say the title and the author. Okay, that is going to be our identify the text section. So we also could say that it's a book, because in 4th grade we're going to read lots of things. We're going to read books, we're going to read articles, you might even read a magazine. Okay, so we're going to say the book 2 Tall Houses by Gianna Marino. That is the identify the text part. Let's do it. The book. So I'm going to putting this in my column under the I so we can keep it all straight. The book, 2 Tall Houses. And because it's the title of a book, I capitalize each word and underline it by Gianna Marino. Okay. And that is our identify part of our IVF. What is the IVF again? Oh yeah, it's the first sentence of a summary. Got it, Sean? All looks good, Bella? Got it? Got it, Kate? And Julia? Delaney? Okay, keep working. Thank you, Mason. Can you tell you're working? Okay. Thank you, Delaney. All right, let's talk about those verbs. Khalil, you were the one that remembered that V stood for verbs. So I'm going to give you some verbs that you might choose from, and I'm going to put them up here on the top. So you might use the verb tells. You might use the word describes. You might use the word explains. These are all verbs that would be appropriate for the IVF. Let's pick one. Who can choose a verb for our IVF about 2 tall houses? Kaya? Tells. Why not? So all we do in this box is write the word tells. All right, now this is the tricky part, readers in the room. What was the main idea of 2 tall houses? So I'm gonna look back at my notes from this morning. We have lots of details, like the story was about Rabbit and Owl. It took place on the top of a hill. They were building their houses. They were kind of competing with each other to see who could have the tallest house. Their houses became the tallest in the whole world. And then the wind blew them down. So they were left with nothing. And they realized that together they had what they needed, and they built a house together. And that was the solution to their problem. Instead of 2 houses, they just needed 1. How can we state the main idea, the gist? Like, what did the author want you to understand from reading this story? What do you think is the main idea? Let's talk about that for a minute, because that is actually a really tricky skill. So I'm looking at my blue hands here in Zoom, and I see Khalil. Khalil, what do you think might be the main idea?
I think the building house one.
But tell me more.
Like so they built the house like a competition, and then they got the 2 tallest house in the world, and then Owl said, "I can't see the forest from here," and then the wind blew them down, and then Owl said, "Hey, grab it, Rabbit," and then when they hit the ground, Rabbit said, "I only have 1 lump of dirt."
Yeah.
And then they said, and then Owl said, "My twigs are broken," and then they had enough to build 1 house together.
Yes. Okay, what you just did, Khalil, was a really good retell of the story. You kind of told us what happened throughout the story, which was all great. Okay. How can we put that? It's like all of those details are true and they're what happened. But what do you think if we were going to cover that whole thing with 1 blanket, all of those details, the 1 blanket that covers all the details? That would be the main idea. Okay, the gist. Like if I said, what was that story about? And you would not tell me all those details of the story, right? You would just give me the gist. Maggie, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the gist? We're going to try to put together all those details that Khalil gave us.
Maybe it's that 2 is better than 1.
Maybe 2 is better than 1. That sounds kind of like a moral, right?
Well, that's what I thought it meant.
Yeah. Clara, it can be the moral of the story. Clara, do you want to add to that?
Maybe it's more isn't always better.
That would be supported by all of Khalil's details, right? More isn't always better. Okay, 2 people are better than 1, right? Not 2 houses were better than 1. And more isn't always best. So what are your thoughts? Think about that for a minute. What should we write as our main idea? Maybe we can put those ideas together, Clara's and Khalil's and Maggie's ideas together. Maybe we could do something along the lines of together. Carolina?
Better together.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. I wasn't even thinking that, but I'm saying the word together. Yeah, Khalil?
It's better to work together.
Yeah. So would you think that this is a story about working together?
Yes.
Okay, maybe we should put that, something like that. So the book, 2 Tall Houses by Gianna Marino, tells, and we're going to say, a story of working together. Oh, I see what's happening. Tells a story about working together. That's the finish your thought. Good job. Hey Nadine, we're working in our writer's notebook. We're doing a new entry on the notes side. You want to get started? Uzman, how you doing? All right, now this doesn't look much like a sentence to me. It's all spread out across these columns. So the last step of an IVF is to turn it into a sentence. So now I'm just going to ignore these columns and I'm going to rewrite this IVF as a sentence. Okay, watch me first. I'm literally going to put these 3 parts together into a sentence. So it will look like this. The book, 2, I'm just going to ignore that line, 2 tall houses. And I remember it's a name of a book, so I'm capitalizing each word, and then I'm going to underline it. By Gianna Marino. Now I'm going to go to my verb, tells. And now I'm going to fix this up to make it a complete sentence. Tells a story about working together. Period. So now I have, and I'm going to put a little cloud around it because I told you I love my clouds. So now I have a first sentence of a summary for the book, 2 Tall Houses.